live. Let's go live. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday. Let's go live. Happy Friday. Jessa Carter, the Peaceful Billionaire here. Welcome. Welcome. So, today is Friday, which means before I got to make sure that I don't touch things on my phone when I'm live on Instagram. So today is Friday, which means you're going to have an opportunity before things end today to celebrate your wins for the week or something that you're grateful for, no matter how big or how small. And the reason for that is what gets celebrated gets replicated. What gets celebrated gets replicated. So if you want more of the things that you love and enjoy in your life, then you celebrate them, no matter how big or how small they are. So that might just be simply quality time with your family, with a friend, with a spouse, with your kids. It might be a financial win for the week. It might be a win in your business. You might have a new client. You might have hosted an event. Many things, right? There's many things to celebrate when it comes to your success, and many things to be grateful for. And today I wanted to talk about the 3 P's of prosperity. The 3 P's of prosperity. I don't know that people necessarily talk about prosperity a lot. So first of all, what is prosperity? What is prosperity? And to me, prosperity is really a state of being. It's a state of being and living and thinking and being from a state of plenty. To me, prosperity is a state of being, and it is a state of plenty. And what plenty means to me is having plenty of all of the amazing things that life has to offer, which is plenty of health, plenty of love, plenty of extraordinary friendships and relationships, and plenty of money, right? Plenty of financial wealth. So to me, that's what prosperity is, and what that means. So you might think about, what does that mean for you? What does prosperity mean for you? Because prosperity is so much more than just a dollar amount in a bank account. And truly, wealth is the same, right? Wealth is so much more than simply a dollar amount in a bank account, because I feel like you can have a lot of money. There's a lot of people who have a lot of money and they're still miserable. So to me, that's not wealth, right? To me, that's not wealth. Even if you have a lot of money in the bank, but you're miserable, that's not prosperity, right? That's not true wealth, right? So true wealth is that place of welcome. Hey there. True wealth is that it stems from that place of prosperity, right? So it's having a wealth of love in your life, a wealth of health, a wealth of extraordinary relationships, and that wealth of financial abundance and money in your life. So that's the true version of that. And there's so many things that get in the way of that, of you having that. And I think society does a good job of actually setting people up for failure when it comes to financial wealth and abundance and prosperity and success. And I think that one of those things, and this was a big one for me. So there's no judgment here whatsoever. A big one for me is, how many of you are really patient? Give me a yes or a no in the chat if you feel like you're a really patient person. Are you patient? Yes or no? For me, that was no. For me, that was a no. I am not the most patient person in the world, right? So patience is a virtue, was never my best virtue. And one of the biggest things that has changed on my journey to greater levels of wealth and success and financial prosperity is that patience. And it's also stretched across all of my other relationships, not only my relationship with money, but also interpersonal relationships, romantic relationships, is really expanding that ability to be patient. But society doesn't doesn't have us set up in a way that patience is easy, right? So we live in this world of instant gratification, right? I want it now. And again, that's me. I'm with you. And I still am in a lot of ways not the most patient person in the world, but in many other ways I'm far more patient than I was in the past. But that instant gratification, right? I want it and I want it now. And the thing is like, so for example, you can go on Amazon, right? You can go on Amazon, you can get yourself a new shirt, you can get yourself some new shoes. You need a DVD player to, a CD player. This is so random that like it's actually up on my screen because I was looking at CD players last night because I was given a gift of this CD collection of trainings that Mark Victor Hansen did, and they're on CD. And I'm like, I don't have a CD player. I don't have a DVD player. I don't have any way to listen to these things. But the point of the matter is, right, instant gratification. You can go on Amazon, you can order that CD player, and it'll arrive at your door tomorrow or the next day, right? So we live in this society where if you want it, most things you can get it now, right? You can go to the store, you can buy it, you can order it on Amazon, it'll show up your door. But can you order $1 million on Amazon and have it show up at your door tomorrow? No, right? No, unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. And so I wish that you could, right? I wish that I could too. I mean, if I could order $1 million on Amazon, I'd be doing that all day long. I'd be like, yep, I'd make that my job. I'd be like, Amazon, $1 million, yes, thank you, and Amazon, another $1 million, yes, thank you, right? But unfortunately, that's not the way it works. And so those 3 P's of prosperity. One is a plan. If you really, no matter what area that you're seeking greater prosperity in your life in, whether it's more love, it's more health, it's more money, right? Wherever that is, you kind of got to have some sort of plan, right? You got to have some kind of plan or roadmap that's going to get you from point A to point B faster than you might have gotten there on your own, right? So you need a plan, because if you're just like willy-nilly, about it, you might make some progress, but you're certainly not going to make as much progress as you could if you had a plan that you were actually executing to get you from point A to point B. True, right? So a plan. So you need some kind of plan, depending on what it is that you're working on. Prosperity, that one of the other P's is patience. It does require some patience. And like I said, society unfortunately has really set all of you, and myself included, up for failure in that regard, because we live in this, I want it now, this instant gratification. But since you can't go on Amazon and order that $1 million and have it show up at your doorstep tomorrow, it requires some patience, right? It does require some patience. So one of the things that they talk about in the Napoleon Hill talks about in the book Think and Grow Rich. If you haven't ever read Think and Grow Rich, I highly recommend. It is kind of known as the Bible of personal professional development. It was also made into a movie. I happen to know the exec producer of the movie, and I thought they did an exceptional job with the movie. So perhaps if you don't have time to read the book or listen to it on Audible, perhaps you scope out the movie. But one of the things that one of the stories in the book talks about is a gentleman who was digging for gold, right? Who was out in those older days, and had a whole big dig project, and they were seeking gold, and he didn't have some of the right tools or some of the right plan, and they kept at it for like months and months and months and months, and didn't get the gold. And he was running out of money, he was running out of patience, right? And so he sold it. He sold it. He turned it over to someone else, and that other person came in with a fresh perspective, did some additional calculations, literally shifted where they were digging within inches to feet, and they hit the gold. So one of the lessons in the book and in the movie, and they do such a beautiful job of sharing that story in the movie, much better than I just did for you. But the moral of the story, right, is that you're always 3 feet from gold. And I always say you're always 3 feet from gold, one connection and one aligned action away from changing your life, right? So part of that 3 P's of prosperity is some patience. The other part that ties in with that story is persistence, whether you want to use the word persistence or perseverance, right? To me, those both mean the same thing, but it requires some persistence. And so there's always going to be times in your life, especially if it's a greater financial success journey, if it's a wealth journey, if it's a financial freedom journey, there are going to be times in your life when the hardest part is getting started. The hardest part is going to be saying yes and getting started. And because it's scary, right? Because it's scary, because things about money feel uncomfortable, things about being rich or wealthy. When you think about that, that might feel uncomfortable for you. And if it does, if that's where you're at right now, that's okay. That's okay, but that can change. That can change. And so when you're going into, that, so sometimes that hardest part is saying yes and getting started on that journey. For me, I got really fed up with my financial situation. It became really, really frustrating because I always thought the answer was make more money, right? I always thought the solution, right? The solution to the problem, or the answer, was make more money. And I learned really, really quickly that unfortunately that's not the solution. That's not the solution. It seems like it would be if I just made more money. If I just made more money, then I would be able to take more vacations, take more time off, buy a new car, if then, right? And I found myself stuck in that, right? And I'm like, oh, if I just make more money. And so I did that. I made some changes in my career, and it was a big one. It was a big one. There was a time when I went from working 60 to 80 hours a week in neurosurgery. And I had been doing that for 6 years with only one raise in that entire 6 years of slaving my life away for 60 to 80 hours a week for someone else. And then I reached a breaking point, right? That's not sustainable. That's not sustainable. I reached a breaking point, and I made a change that was very, very wise and lucrative, both from a time and a monetary perspective. So I went from those 60 to 80-hour work weeks to only working 14 days a month. And I was making almost twice the money. So that was a good spot, right? That was a good spot to be in. Now there's a couple problems. One was I found myself in a very short time still living paycheck to paycheck again. And that's when I really, really identified and had to look myself in the face and in the mirror and be like, okay, Justin, there's a problem here, right? Clearly the solution is not more money. Like, you're making a lot more money, and there is zero reason for you to still be in the same financial situation and still be living paycheck to paycheck. Like, this is not okay. So that was for me, that sort of like up against the wall, like look in the mirror, honest, like smack in the face of, if I want this to change, something's got to change, and that change starts here with me, right? It's not an easy pill to swallow. The honesty pill, looking in the mirror, the honesty pill, not an easy one to swallow, and it certainly wasn't for me. But I had to own up to the fact that, that I was the one that was responsible for that, and that if I wanted it to change, that I had to make some changes. And then and then you have all of this time, right? So I had also gained a lot of time, and part of what that did of making more money and me having more time, especially after working as hard as I did for as long as I did, those 60 to 80-hour work weeks for 6 years straight, plus taking call, plus getting up in the middle of the And I could pretty well do most anything that I wanted to by making some changes and being more consistent. And instead of following a budget, actually managing my money. I am pro money management, because budgeting is not my favorite thing in the world. Budgeting can feel very restrictive. So that's also why a lot of people get stuck and they don't do it, because budgeting makes you feel like you're restricted. So a lot of people just avoid it altogether. And that was some of the patterns and some of the things that happened for me, which is why I'm so passionate about the work that I do now, is my own journey and my own struggle with money and the relationship with money, and getting to a better place of actually building financial freedom in my life, and those changes that had to take place. But what happens with time sometimes, or if you're doing pretty well financially, even though you could do better, but you're doing pretty well financially and you have maybe a cushy schedule, you're now at a place where like the job's not so stressful, so you can get comfortable. And comfortable kind of meant complacent, right? In a lot of ways, as much as I wanted to become an entrepreneur and have a business, I'm like, well, things are pretty cushy right now. So do I really, do I really want to do that? And so it is going to require some discomfort. And by discomfort, that means like stepping outside of your comfort zone, right? Stepping outside of your comfort zone, because building wealth, getting rich, building financial freedom, it's not comfortable. It's not. At least it wasn't for me. I mean, maybe for some people, maybe for some people it is, but my experience and my clients' experiences is that's not comfortable, and that does require stepping outside of one's comfort zone. But the thing is like that ripple effect and that next level of greatness for you, hey there, welcome, is literally just inches outside of your comfort zone, right? It's inches outside of your comfort zone. You're always 3 feet from gold, one aligned connection and one aligned action away from changing your life, right? So it's closer than you think. It always feels like it's very far away, but if you're willing to just inch outside of your comfort zone, that next level of success for you is closer than you can see. It's closer than you can actually imagine. And so but it is going to take some, right? Stepping outside of that comfort zone, and then that persistence, right? The persistence, the perseverance. So those 3 P's of prosperity, right? One is a plan. You need some sort of plan. 2, what was 2? Huh? Do you remember what was 2? Patience, right? 2 was patience. So you need a plan, you need some patience, and you need some perseverance and persistence, because that's the other place that can get hard when you're, hey Sharon, welcome. That's the other place that can get challenging, right? So sometimes it's the getting started part that's the hardest part or the most scary part, and then other times it can be that push to keep going. That push to keep going that can feel like the hardest part or the scariest part. And so both of those things are, both of those things might show up, and they might show up at different times. So what are ways to make sure, right, that you get started, and even when it's hard or scary, or that you keep going even when it's hard or scary? And for me, that answer and the solution for that was support and accountability, was surrounding myself with people, putting myself in environments with other people who were like-minded, who were on a similar path. And so that there was accountability and there was support, and there were people who were feeling the same way that I was feeling. There were people that were working towards similar goals, right? And so that accountability, that support system made all the difference in the world for me. And so if you don't feel like you have that community of support, on your journey, in particular, if it's your wealth, your financial freedom, your success journey, if you don't feel like that you have that support, I do go live every Friday, and I'm always bringing some sort of pearls, some diamonds and pearls of wisdom and inspiration for you, and the motivation and tools and techniques. The other thing is, I do have, if anyone's interested, I just want to extend an invitation. Would it be okay if I invited you to something just super quick? Yeah, I see lots of hearts. Thank you. I do have an awesome special edition masterclass coming up next Thursday on the 10th. It's at noon Eastern time, which is how to 10x your earning power and live the life of your dreams without working harder, budgeting, or saving. Does that sound good to any of you? Would you like to 10x your earning power, live that life of your dreams without working harder, budgeting, or saving? Yes or yes? Yes, right? Yes. So if you would like to join, it's a free class, it's a free training, it's a free class, and you can join. If you're on Instagram, the link is in my bio. The link is in my bio to join. If you're watching on either LinkedIn or Facebook or on YouTube, then I'll make sure that I put the link in the show notes. But if you are on Instagram, if you go to my profile, the link is right there at the top in the bio. So you can check it out and join me. It's a super fun training. Everyone always walks away with incredible value from that. So it's a special one. And so that was that. And then also, so it's Friday, and I told you at the beginning that we would celebrate some wins or gratitude, So if you're here live with me, or even if you're watching the replay, drop me a win or something that you're grateful for in the chat. Remember, doesn't matter how small or how big it is. It's also really important to celebrate the little things. So even if you, maybe you're going to dinner with your partner tonight, or maybe you're just looking forward to 5 o'clock on a Friday so that you can play with your kids. That's okay. That's still something to celebrate. That's a win, because remember I said, what gets celebrated gets replicated. So anything that you want more of in your life, even if it's these small little moments, celebrate that. So you're inviting in more. One of my biggest celebrations is I hosted my 3-day event last week, and it was so much fun. And the clients that were there were having just amazing shifts and breakthrough, and everyone that was there left some awesome testimonials and were sharing their experience. So for me, that was not only, did I host the event, and I was really proud of doing that, but also celebrating anytime my clients win, right? That's a win for me too. So I get to celebrate your success as well. And when you celebrate with each other, you're also creating even more for yourself, right? So celebrate yourself, but also celebrate what other people's wins, right? And other people's gratitude, because then you're just building more of the same, not only for yourself, but for them too. So that's one of the reasons. There's always meaning behind my madness. Everything that I do is intentional. Like there's intention and there's meaning behind why I do things the way I do, why I say things the way that I do, to have the highest and best impact for the person across from me. That's always my intention. So let's see. Lots of family time this past week, and parents coming into town. Yay, that's exciting. I love that. I was talking to my brother this morning, and my brother and his family, his wife and my nephews are in Virginia, which is where I was born, where I'm from originally, and then I grew up, spent majority of my life in Florida, and I'm in New York now, for those of you who who don't know, which is quite the change, right? From the mountains, this rural part of Virginia in the mountains, to Florida for a very long time, to New York. All of those are very big transitions, and I love New York. So I have a little saying, a little lighthearted, playful saying. So I say that I went from country roots to Chanel boots, from country roots to Chanel boots. I don't have many Chanel boots. I think I have one pair, and I remember, and so there's some things, if you spend some time with me, there's some things that I share, as to, because I remember, I am someone who likes nice things. I'm not ashamed to admit that. It might seem superficial to some people. It might seem materialistic to some people, but I just prefer things that are quality. I prefer quality over quantity. I prefer that in material things. I prefer that in relationships. I prefer my relationships I prefer to have a smaller number of very, very high quality relationships than a large number of subpar quality relationships. And I'm similar in my things. And part of what comes with quality is those things do last longer. So I do view that as an investment. And also I have a lot of, fun in sneaky ways from a financial perspective that I teach, so that I don't actually pay for those things. So I do have my designer, quote unquote, drug of choice, if you will, is actually Valentino and Chanel. But I have it set up in a way where I get those things technically for free. So that's something in my inner world in my sphere that I do teach other people how to do as well, because that was one of my favorite things. But I remember wanting those things and never feeling like I could afford those things, or that I might not ever be able to afford those things. And so that language is extremely unsupportive. So please don't ever say that you can't afford something. Frame it in a way that I look forward to when I can purchase that or invest in that with ease. I look forward to when I can invest in that or purchase that with ease. So that was always my perspective. I was like, I would really love to have a Valentino bag or a pair of Valentino shoes or those Chanel boots. And so rather than being jealous or envious of the person that I saw carrying or wearing them, and putting myself down into that place of I might not ever have that, was I look forward to when I can buy those things for myself with ease. Because I'm also not someone who is, as much as I appreciate gifts, I prefer to work for and to have the things that I have because I worked for the things that I have. So not to have things given to me. Although, like I said, I appreciate gifts. I do get really, really sweet gifts in the mail from clients, and I appreciate that, and I love gifts. But when it comes to, say, $1 million, right? Even if I were to give you $1 million, or you ordered $1 million on Amazon and it did in fact show up in the mail, it's not the same as if you worked for that $1 million and you and you earned the tenacity and the grit and the persistence and the perseverance and the patience and who you became on that journey to earning that $1 million, right? Like those two things are not equivalent. So it's not going to feel the same if someone just hands you $1 million and you're like, whoa, I have $1 million. I mean, it's going to be exciting either way. It's still $1 million, right? But it's not going to feel the same because you're not going to have that same level of pride as you would if you truly earned and built that yourself. True. Yes. So I usually wrap up at 12, and it was I started late today because I couldn't get my computer and my phone to cooperate with me. So anyways, so I want to wish you an amazing, prosperous weekend. filled with many, many blessings. And remember that what you celebrate gets replicated. And so I hope you have many moments within your evening and the rest of your day and your weekend that are filled with things for you to celebrate and filled with prosperity. And I will see you next time. So if you join the masterclass, if you join the How to 10X Your Earning Power and Live the Life of Your Dreams without working harder budgeting or saving masterclass, if you join, I will see you on Thursday next week. That's at noon Eastern time. It's at noon Eastern time on Thursday next week. And if I don't see you there, then I'll see you here live next Friday at 11:30. So that is all. That is all. Bye for now. Close in now. Close in broadcast. Oh, thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Nicole.